You ever walk through an RV dealership and wonder why some motorhomes look like they've been parked there forever? Shiny, spotless, brand new, and still no takers. That's not an accident. It's the market. Late 2025 into early 2026 has been a full-on correction for motorhomes. The broader RV industry is stabilizing, but the motorized segment is still getting hit hard, with a year-over-year sales decline of about 10.5%. And when motorhomes don't move, they don't just sit, they bleed money. Dealers are paying floor plan interest, units pile up, new model years keep arriving, and suddenly you've got rows of rigs that are basically financial anchors. So what do dealers do when a motorhome becomes a liability? They slash prices aggressively. In a lot of cases, we're talking discounts that can push past 40% off MSRP on specific models that buyers just aren't touching. And here's the part most people miss. The price cuts aren't random. They're concentrated. There are certain rigs that have become the problem children of the lot, the ones that consistently stall out, pile up days, and force dealers into damage control mode. In this video, I'm breaking down 7 motorhomes nobody is buying right now, and why dealers are slashing prices to get rid of them. Some are stuck in outdated platforms, some got caught in the overproduction hangover from the 2021-2022 surge, and some just don't match what today's buyers actually want. And if you're shopping, this is where the deep discounts hide. But you need to know what you're looking at because a cheaper price doesn't always mean a better deal. Let's set the stage fast because this explains everything. Right now, standard RV loan rates are sitting around 9% to 10%. On a high-ticket motorhome financed over 10 to 20 years, that adds tens of thousands of dollars to the real cost. That single factor alone has turned maybe buyers into no-chance buyers. At the same time, the market is flooded with inventory that shouldn't even still exist. As of mid-2025, there are nearly 91,800 new 2025 units on the market, more than 10,000 unsold 2024 units, and even around 1,600 new 2023 units that have been sitting for over 2 years. That's not normal. That's a backlog, and it's forcing dealers to clear space for incoming 2026 models, even if it means selling at or below cost just to stop the interest payments. Meanwhile, the used market is creating a second problem, the equity gap. A lot of pandemic buyers financed at peak prices, and now values on many motorized rigs have crashed 40% or more. Some owners are upside down by as much as $40,000, meaning they can't trade in. That stalls the replacement cycle that normally feeds new sales. So, new motorhomes don't move. Trade-ins don't happen, and dealers get stuck holding inventory longer and longer. And longer lot time creates a whole new issue, lot rot. Once a unit sits past 150 days, you start seeing seals dry out, tires develop flat spots, and batteries lose capacity from deep discharge. New inventory can take up to about 165 days to sell at peak conditions, and when the market slows, it gets worse. So when you see a massive discount, it's not always generosity. Sometimes it's urgency. Now add one more shift that's quietly crushing certain motorhomes. The buyer profile is changing. The median RV owner age has dropped to 49. Younger buyers care less about giant gas rigs and more about maneuverability, off-grid power, solar, lithium, and smart control systems. Gen X and millennials now make up a combined 68% of the RV owner market, and they expect the tech to work seamlessly. That's why smaller, tech-forward, compact luxury rigs and adventure vans are holding value better, while large gas Class A rigs are piling up. So, with all that in mind, here are the 7 motorhomes that are getting ignored and discounted hard. And we're starting with one that practically defines the problem. Number 1, the Thor Windport. On paper, the Windport looks like a safe bet. It's an entry-level Class A gas motorhome with decent floor plans and familiar branding. But in today's market, it's trapped in the worst possible place. A big, inefficient gas rig with compromises buyers can't justify anymore. First, fuel economy. This is a coach that averages around 6 to 7 miles per gallon, and when buyers are already staring at 9 to 10% financing, the idea of feeding a thirsty gas Class A becomes an instant turnoff. Operating costs matter again, and the Windport is not friendly to long-haul travelers. Then there's build feel. Reports point to deficiencies like flimsy cabinetry and inadequate insulation. And that's the kind of thing that hits hard right now because the market is full of buyers who do deep research before signing anything. People are more cautious than they were during the frenzy years. They've seen what production speed compromises look like. They know the common complaints: cabinets detaching, roof seal leaks, slide-out problems. So when a rig already has a reputation for feeling lightly built, it becomes a tough sell, and the market is reflecting that. These Windports have seen price collapses near 40%, dropping from MSRPs around $220,000 to sale prices in the $130,000 to $140,000 range. That's not a normal discount. That's a dealer trying to stop the bleeding. If you find one at that kind of markdown, here's the question you should ask yourself. Are you okay with the trade-offs long-term? Because the Windport discount is big for a reason. It's not hitting the mark for today's buyer. Number 2, the Thor A.C.E. The A.C.E. was pitched as a clever hybrid, the spaciousness of a Class A with the approachability of a Class C. That sounds great. The problem is the execution hasn't aged well, and the market has moved past what the A.C.E. is offering. One of the biggest red flags is depreciation. This model can lose up to 45% of its value within 24 months of purchase, and when buyers know that, they hesitate because nobody wants to feel like they're lighting money on fire the moment they drive off the lot. Then there's the driving experience. Buyers frequently cite sluggish acceleration and high cabin noise. That matters more than people think, because today's shoppers aren't just buying a weekend toy. More people are treating RVs like real travel tools, and even as mobile housing. When you're spending serious time in a rig, comfort and usability become non-negotiable, and the interior doesn't help. The A.C.E. is often criticized for feeling dated compared to the minimalist, European-inspired designs that are now common in the Class B and B+ world. That's the direction the market is leaning. Compact luxury, smart design, and tech integration. So the A.C.E. ends up stuck between identities. It's not the sleek, tech-forward future, and it's not cheap enough to be the easy starter buy anymore, especially with financing where it is. That's why it's sitting and why dealers are motivated to deal. And before we hit number 3, keep this in mind. When a motorhome sits too long, the discount isn't the only thing changing. The unit itself can degrade. Lot rot is real. Seals dry out, tires flat spot, batteries take damage. So if you're shopping these nobody is buying rigs, inspect like you're buying a 2-year-old unit, because sometimes, functionally, you are. Number 3, the Forest River Georgetown series. This one is a perfect example of how tech issues can kill momentum in a market that's getting younger and more demanding. The Georgetown series has been hit with markdowns exceeding $90,000. And the big pain point isn't just it feels dated, it's that owners and shoppers have flagged glitches in digital leveling systems and touchscreen control panels. That's brutal in 2025 and 2026 because Gen X and millennials now dominate a huge chunk of the owner market, and they expect onboard electronics to be reliable. When a rig's control systems feel glitchy, it doesn't just annoy people, it scares them. If a leveling system misbehaves, it's not a small inconvenience, it's a trust issue. If a touchscreen control panel is unreliable, the whole coach feels like a headache waiting to happen. And once that perception lands, it spreads fast through online research communities. Buyers don't just hope for the best anymore, they walk. So the Georgetown becomes a unit that dealers sit on, then start cutting hard, because holding costs stack up fast when inventory ages. And that's what we're seeing across lots right now. Dealers clearing aged 2024 and especially 2023 inventory aggressively, sometimes below invoice, just to reduce the floor plan interest expense. And Georgetown is caught in that wave. Number 4, the Fleetwood Flare. The Flare is one of those rigs that looks like it should be a straightforward win. Entry-level Class A gas, big space, familiar name. But the market doesn't just want big anymore. It wants modern capability, and the Flare is getting punished for what it lacks. These units can be discounted up to 45%, and part of that comes down to missing expectations that have basically become standard for 2025 and 2026 shoppers. The big one? Power and control integration. Modern buyers care about robust solar, lithium systems, and smartphone-based controls. The rigs moving successfully are the ones that treat that tech as core, not as an afterthought. And when a model lacks those modern amenities, it feels behind, even if it's technically new. Then there's the ugly side of inventory aging. Industry reports have noted structural concerns like water intrusion and delamination in units that have sat on dealer lots for extended periods. That's what happens when a coach becomes a parking lot resident instead of a travel machine. So now you've got a rig that's already struggling to excite modern buyers, and some units may have been sitting long enough to develop real issues. That combination is exactly why dealers start pushing massive markdowns. Because at a certain point, the Flare isn't just unsold, it's risk. If you're looking at one of these discounted Flare units, the inspection matters more than the price. Look closely for signs of water intrusion. Ask about how long it has been on the lot. Pay attention to seals, roof edges, and anything that screams, "This has been baking outside," because the discount is trying to compensate for the fact that buyers are nervous. Number 5, the Coachmen Mirada. If you want to understand the pandemic build hangover in one model, the Mirada is a clean example. These rigs are seeing cuts around $90,000 as the market shifts toward higher quality builds. And the complaints are exactly what you'd expect from a unit that came out of the production speed era. Consumers have pointed to inconsistencies like soft flooring and thin cabinet veneers. That kind of stuff might slide when demand is exploding and everyone is panic buying. But in a corrected market, it kills deals. Because now buyers are doing the math differently. They're not just asking, "Can I afford the payment?" They're asking, "Do I trust this thing?" And the Mirada has another problem. Features that were trendy during the boom years aren't matching current priorities. Outdoor kitchens were a popular pandemic-era feature. People imagined tailgates, weekend cookouts, and quick getaways. But contemporary buyers are leaning hard into off-grid capability, massive lithium battery banks, high-wattage solar arrays, and quieter, generator-free experiences. If a rig feels like it's built for yesterday's lifestyle, it won't move, even if it's discounted. So dealers cut, and cut again, because the Mirada is competing against a buyer who's more informed, more cautious, and more focused on durability and modern power systems. Number 6, the Jayco Precept. This one hurts because Jayco has strong brand recognition, and the Precept should be an easy sell in the Class A gas space, but it's getting dragged down by drivability issues that become deal breakers the moment someone takes a test drive. The Precept is seeing price drops up to around $90,000, and one of the big reasons is reported mechanical handling problems like steering wander and body flex. On a large motorhome, steering wander isn't a minor complaint, it's exhausting. It makes windy conditions and uneven roads feel like a constant correction game. Add in reports of top-heavy weight distribution, and the rig starts to feel intimidating, especially for buyers who want safety and ease of driving. And that's where the market trend matters. Newer 2025 and 2026 models on platforms like Mercedes-Benz Sprinter or Ford Transit AWD are offering advanced safety systems and modern driver assist tech. Buyers are seeing that, and then they sit in a big gas Class A that feels old school and harder to manage, and they walk. There's also a competitive gap here. The most advanced power technologies are often reserved for Jayco's significantly more expensive diesel pusher models. That leaves the gas Precept in a weird vacuum, where it's not cheap enough to ignore flaws and not advanced enough to justify the price. So dealers discount it to survive. If you're a buyer, here's the trap. A huge discount can make you feel like you're winning, but if the core issue is how the rig drives, that's not something you fix with a lower price tag. Make sure you actually like how it handles before you chase the deal. Number 7, the Entegra Vision. This one might be the most dramatic mismatch on the list. Entegra is traditionally associated with luxury diesel coaches. People hear the name and expect a certain level of craftsmanship, but the Vision line is entry-level gas, and that gap between expectation and reality is exactly why these units are being discounted up to 50%. Consumers who associate Entegra with high-end build quality walk into a Vision and feel disappointed by budget materials like hollow wall panels and thin vinyl flooring. And disappointment is deadly in this market because buyers aren't just comparing specs, they're comparing feelings. When you pay for a name, you want the name to mean something the second you step inside. If it doesn't, you start questioning everything else. And if you're looking at the Vision XL specifically, there's a performance complaint that comes up consistently. It's often criticized for being underpowered for its size, especially because it's built on a 26,000-pound chassis. That means mountainous regions feel harder, fuel costs climb, and the rig can feel like it's working too hard just to do normal travel. So now you've got a coach with a brand perception problem and a performance reputation problem. That's how you get 50% discounts. That's not a sale, that's a clearance. Now, if you're still here, you might be thinking, okay, so are these actually bad motorhomes? Not always. What's happening right now isn't the industry collapsing, it's the industry correcting. Motorhomes are facing stronger headwinds than towables, inventory is aging, interest rates are punishing payments, and buyers have shifted towards smaller, more efficient, more technologically integrated rigs. That's why the price slashing is concentrated. It's hitting the models that feel like they belong to the old world, big gas Class A platforms with minimal updates, questionable build feel from the production surge era, and tech that doesn't meet modern expectations. Meanwhile, the segments that align with what buyers want are staying stronger. Class B adventure vans and compact luxury rigs are holding up better because they prioritize maneuverability, off-grid power, and smart control systems. That's where the demand is, and that should tell you exactly what the market is voting for. So, if you're shopping this nobody is buying category, here's the smart way to play it. 1. Understand why the rig is discounted. If it's discounted because it's outdated or mismatched, that might be fine for you. If it's discounted because it's developing lot rot or has reliability concerns, that's a different story. 2. Inspect like the unit has been sitting, because many of them have. Look for the common lot time problems, dried seals, tire issues, battery health, and anything that suggests the coach has been weathering seasons on the lot. 3. Remember the equity gap problem. The used market is full of nearly new units because some owners are trapped or bailing out of the lifestyle. Those used units compete directly with discounted new inventory. That's leverage for you, but only if you compare carefully. And 4, don't ignore the financing math. With interest rates sitting around 9 to 10% right now, the payment can erase the deal fast. The sticker price is only half the story. The bigger story is what the market is becoming. Into 2026, the industry expects shipments to rise, and interest rates are projected to ease into the 7.5 to 8.5% range. That helps affordability and it helps unit turnover. But the underlying shift isn't going away. Buyers are prioritizing smaller footprints, better power systems, better tech, better efficiency, and better build quality. Manufacturers who don't innovate in solar, lithium, and maneuverability will keep seeing high inventory and aggressive discounting, which means this list won't be the last. These 7 models are just the clearest examples of what happens when a motorhome doesn't match the new expectations. So, if you want the absolute best deals, this is where you hunt. But if you want the best long-term ownership experience, you need to be honest about why the deal exists. Because sometimes it's a steal, and sometimes it's a warning sign with a price tag. Drop a comment and tell me which one you'd avoid and which one you'd scoop up if the discount was big enough. Because out here, knowledge isn't just power, it's savings.